where to find the measure features in multiple workbench applications. I'm currently in the generative shape wireframe application. This is wireframe and surfacing. It is found in a tab called Tools, and the feature is typically towards the far right. You might have to use your gray bar on the bottom to move. You will see measure item for selecting single elements, measure between for selecting multiple elements, and measure inertia for finding weight, center of gravity, inertia, volume, area, and such. So again, we are in generative wireframe and surfacing. Also in part design, so I've switched environments. In the same part, I've gone into a workbench application called part design. Under the same tab, tools, you'll find the features way over to the right. You might have to grab the bar to slide over and find them. You'll have the measure item, measure between, and the measure inertia. When you're at the assembly level, I don't have an assembly on the screen, but when you go to tools, you may have to grab the bar and go to the far right and find the features for measure between and measure item, and they look different. So there's your measure item, and measure between looks different, and then your measure inertia at the assembly level. So this kind of measurement would be usually measuring from one part to another in the assembly. Whereas in the drawings, typically you would just make dimensions. So you would rarely use the measure feature, but it's also found in the tools tab as all the others. And you can create measurements between, and those are pretty much your options, because again, in a drawing, most measurements are going to be on the dimension. So a dimension is something you do in the 2D environment or where you're creating a drawing. Measure item, measure inertia, measure between are all found in the assembly, part design environment, and generative wireframe and surfacing. All right, so that's how you can find your measurement command. In the next demo, we'll go on to talk about creating measurements.